The planet was silent, no wind, no life. Only cold stones, sharp rocks, and dark skies. Captain Riven's ship landed slowly on the surface. Dust rose, the ship made a low humming sound, then stopped. Riven stepped outside in his suit. His boots touched the ground with a crunch. He looked around. "This place is dead," he said, his voice calm. But curious, the planet was called Orcanus 9. Hundreds of years ago, people said it was full of strange energy. But no one came here now. Too far, too dangerous, too forgotten. Then? Last week a signal came from here, faint, old, not human. Not machine, just strange. Riven followed it. Now, he stood here on empty land with nothing but stone around him. He walked. His scanner beeped slowly. Beep, beep, beep. The signal grew stronger. After walking 1 kilometer, he saw something strange. A narrow path between high rocks. It looked like it was not made by nature. He followed it. The path led to a small cave. The entrance was shaped like a half circle. Black stone covered the walls. He stepped inside. Cold air touched his face, even through the suit. Inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. Then he saw her. She was lying on the ground on a bed of flat stones, a young woman, still, eyes closed. Pale skin, long black hair. Her body was not frozen. Not broken, just asleep. Riven froze. His heart beat faster. "This is not possible," he whispered. He scanned her. The scanner blinked red. Then green, alive, life signs normal, low brain activity, no injuries. Riven knelt beside her. Her hands were folded on her chest. Her clothes were made of a strange silver cloth, soft but ancient. Dust covered her like a blanket. She had been here for a long time. Too long. "Who are you?" Riven asked. No answer. He touched her arm. Suddenly her fingers twitched. Riven jumped back. His hand reached for his blaster. But he stopped. She didn't move again, just that one little twitch. Like a dream moving through her, Riven looked around. On the walls of the cave, he saw something strange. Symbols, carved into the stone. Circles, stars, hands, eyes. They looked old, alien, but they were not made by machines. Someone used hands. Real hands. Riven took pictures. He spoke into his recorder. "I have found a human-looking woman, alive, unknown origin. Cave shows alien symbols. Recommend full research team." Returning to ship with subject, he lifted her slowly. She was light. Too light? Outside, the wind had started. Small stones rolled across the ground. As he walked back to the ship, he looked at her face. She looked peaceful, but Riven knew peace was not the right word. She looked forgotten. Inside the ship, he placed her in the med chamber. He removed her dusty clothes carefully and gave her clean fabric. The machine scanned her again. Human, but with unknown elements in blood. "No ID, no chip, not from Earth," Riven said. "Maybe not even from our time." He sat beside her, watching. After 2 hours, she still didn't wake. But then the ship's lights flickered. The power dropped for a second, and then her eyes opened. Bright, ice blue, sharp like lightning. She looked directly at Riven. He stood up, hand near his blaster, but she didn't move. She just stared. Then, in a slow, soft voice, she spoke. "How long?" Riven blinked. "What?" She sat up slowly, her body weak. Her voice was dry, almost cracking. "How long did I sleep?" Riven hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe centuries. Who are you?" She didn't answer. She looked down at her hands, then around the room. "This is not my world," she said. "No," Riven replied. "You were in a cave, alone, on Orcanus 9. Do you remember?" She closed her eyes. "I remember cold, silence, stones, and betrayal." Riven felt a chill. "Not from the cold." She looked at him again. "You are human?" "Yes, Captain Riven," she nodded once. "Then I am safe, for now." "What's your name?" he asked. She paused, then said one word. "Ilara." Riven stared at her. So many questions filled his mind. Who was she? Why was she sleeping on cold stones? Who betrayed her? And most important, why was she still alive? The answers would change everything, but for now, Riven knew one thing. This woman was not ordinary. And this mission was no longer about a signal. It was about her. The girl in the cold stone prison. Asterisk, she did not breathe like normal humans. Her chest moved slowly like waves on a quiet ocean. But her presence, it made the ship feel full of something old. Something powerful. Captain Riven couldn't stop watching her. The girl named Ilara sat quietly on the medbed. Her eyes stared at the metal walls around her, but her mind was far away. She touched her own hand like it was not hers. Then she whispered, "This is not my time." 3 hours earlier. The ship's lights had flickered again. Small shocks moved through the walls. Riven thought it was a system glitch until the room grew colder. He turned. Ilara's body was glowing. Her skin, pale like moonlight, now gave off a soft silver shine. Her heartbeat was faster. Her eyes moved under her eyelids. And then she gasped. Like someone pulled her back from a deep ocean, she opened her eyes, bright, strange, sharp, looking directly into Riven's soul. Now, Riven offered her water. She held the cup like it was her first time. He spoke carefully. "I need answers. Who are you, really? And why were you sleeping in a stone cave?" Ilara did not reply right away. Her voice came after a pause. "I was placed there, locked away. Why? Because I was dangerous." Riven leaned forward. "Dangerous to who?" She looked at him. "To those who feared change." Flash of the Pastelara's voice grew distant, like she was speaking through time. "I once lived in a city made of crystal and stone. Built in the sky, I was one of the architects. We shaped planets, created balance, but I made a mistake." "What kind of mistake?" Riven asked. "I gave power to the wrong hands," she said. "A device, it could turn thought into reality. I built it to heal planets, but they used it to destroy." Her eyes darkened. "I tried to stop them. They called me a traitor, so they punished me. They used my own design to trap me in sleep, in silence, in stone." Riven couldn't believe it. "You were buried alive for trying to save others?" Ilara nodded. "I remember their faces, cold, proud, merciless." She clenched her fist. "I thought I would never wake again." Suddenly the ship shook slightly. An alert beeped. "Incoming message. Unknown frequency." Riven checked the monitor. A strange symbol appeared. Circle inside a triangle. He looked at Ilara. "Do you know this?" Her face changed. "They found me." "Who?" She stood slowly. Her body still weak, but her voice stronger now. "The Keepers. The ones who locked me away. They feared I'd return, and they were right." Riven grabbed his gear. "Are they coming here?" "Not yet," she said. "But they will. They always do. They watch the stones." He frowned. "What does that mean?" Ilara walked to the ship's glass window. Outside, the stars burned silently. "The stones are alive," she said. "Memory is carved into them. And when you touch me, they woke too." Riven tried to understand. "You're saying the cave, the stones, sent the signal?" She nodded. "They called you because I couldn't." There was silence. Riven spoke softly. "I don't know why, but I feel like I was meant to find you." Ilara turned to him. Her eyes were calmer now. "Almost soft. Perhaps you were," she said. "Or perhaps you are just the first to care." Suddenly, the ship's voice echoed. "External scan shows unknown object entering Orcanus orbit." Riven's eyes met hers. "They're here," she said. Asterisk, the ship's floor felt warm. But in Ilara's mind, she was still lying on cold stone. Not here, not now. Somewhere deep in time, she stood in front of the mirror in the medbay. Touching her own reflection, her voice was soft. "This face. It was younger, last time I saw it." Riven watched her quietly from behind. "She looks human," he thought, "but there's something, older, something the years forgot." Suddenly, the ship lights flickered again, but this time it wasn't a power glitch. A pulse passed through the ship like a silent earthquake. Ilara gasped and grabbed her head, and then the room around her disappeared. In her mind, the past returned. She was standing in a shining hall. Tall pillars of crystal rose toward a golden ceiling. The floor glowed with soft white light and strange shapes floated in the air blue, moving, alive. People walked past her. Not humans, not aliens. Something in between, tall, elegant, covered in robes of light. She remembered their names. She remembered their lies. In the center of the hall stood a massive stone-black smooth, humming with power. This was the thought engine, her invention. Her gift. And her curse. In the present, Riven saw Ilara collapse. He ran to her side. Ilara! What's happening? She didn't answer. Her body trembled. Eyes wide open. But she wasn't really here. The ship's AI spoke. Neural spike detected. Subject is experiencing a memory surge. Riven held her hand. It was hot like touching living fire. Inside her mind, she saw herself standing before the council. 12 beings sat above her, faces hidden in shadows. One of them shouted, "You gave power to the weak. You opened the gate to chaos." She replied, calm but firm, "I gave them choice, I gave them hope." Another voice, cold and sharp, "You built a god and handed it to children." She remembered her defense. But it did not matter. The council had already chosen her punishment. Let her sleep forever. Let the stones carry her guilt. And then darkness. Back in the ship, Ilara screamed, a deep, hollow sound. Like rocks breaking under pressure, the walls of the ship glowed faint blue. The memory was leaking, touching the ship's core, and then it stopped. Silence. Elar opened her eyes. She sat up slowly, breath heavy, eyes wet. Riven handed her water. "What did you see?" Ilara drank, then said, "My truth, my shame, my prison." Riven nodded. "And now it's over." She looked at him, serious. "No, it's just beginning, the thought engine. It still exists." Riven frowned. "What is it?" She explained, "It is a machine that makes thought real. Dreams become tools. Emotions become weapons." He sat down, stunned. "That's impossible." She shook her head. "It is dangerous. It feeds on the mind if it falls into wrong hands." He finished the sentence. It can destroy worlds." Suddenly a beep, the AI voice spoke. "Object in orbit has sent a landing pod." "ETA, 5 minutes." Ilara stood. "They're coming for me, or worse." "For the engine." Riven grabbed his pulse blaster. "Then we won't let them find either." Ilara walked toward the back of the ship. Her hands glowed faintly. "I need stone," she said. Riven blinked. "What?" She turned, her eyes calm. "Stone holds memory. I will awaken it." Outside, the ground trembled slightly. Small stones near the cave began to rise. Float, spin, something ancient was returning. Ilara stepped out. The cave from which she came still opened. She knelt and touched the floor. Whispers filled the air. The stones were speaking inside Riven's mind. Her voice echoed, "The past isn't buried, it is waiting." Asterisk, the first stone rose without sound. It hovered above the ground, shaking slightly, like it was remembering how to breathe. Captain Riven took a slow step back. "What? Is this?" Ilara's eyes glowed faint silver. She didn't speak. Her hands moved slowly, fingers guiding the air. All around them, small stones began to rise. "Like they had been sleeping for centuries," Riven whispered. "You're not just remembering the past. You're waking it up?" One day earlier, after the memory surge, Ilara told Riven the truth. "The thought engine is not just a machine," she said. "It's connected to this planet, to its stones. That's why they buried me here, to keep me away from it." "But it still calls to me?" Riven asked. "Can you control it?" Ilara paused. "No, not yet. But I can build something small. Something safe." "A weapon?" Riven asked. She smiled faintly. "No, a home, now." Riven watched her from a distance. The ground around the cave was changing. Stones were lifting, rotating in slow patterns. Some were glowing, soft blue, or orange like fireflies trapped in crystal. Ilara knelt in the center, eyes closed. Her voice was low, almost like a lullaby. "Memory is in everything. Even in stone, we just never learned how to listen." Riven had seen many things in his life: alien battles, collapsing stars, ships lost to time. But this was something ancient. Something sacred. The stones began to fall gently into place, one by one. They clicked together, forming smooth walls, no tools, no noise, no nails, just memory guiding memory. Elr opened her eyes. A structure must hold more than shape, she said. It must hold peace. Riven walked closer. You're building more than a house, aren't you? She looked at him. I'm building a promise that I won't be forgotten again. They worked together now. Riven used his tech, laser-guided. Measurements, gravity locks, protective shields. Elara shaped stone with thought. She didn't just lift rocks, she spoke to them. Whispered things only they could hear. Together, they built walls, then arches. Then a dome dot inside. It was cool and quiet. Light filtered in through cracks shaped like stars. The air smelled like old earth and new hope. Riven stood in the center and smiled. I've never built something without fear in my heart, he said, until now. Elara sat beside him. I've never had anyone to build with, she said. That night they shared food. Simple rations. But it tasted different because for the first time since he met her, Elara laughed. It was small, soft, but real. Riven stared at her. You were alone for so long. How did you stay sane? Elara looked up at the stars. I didn't. Pieces of me are still in the stones. I only feel whole when I'm near them. He thought for a moment. Then I'll stay close to them. And to you? She blinked, surprised, then smiled. But peace never stays long. Just as they finished the first layer of the roof, the sky darkened. A ship passed overhead. Not Riven's, not friendly. Elara stood quickly. They've come. Who? Riven asked. She whispered, the Stonekeepers. The ship did not land. It hovered, watching. Elara placed a hand on the new wall. It pulsed with light. They will not strike now. They are studying, waiting. For what? For me to finish. So they can steal it. Riven gritted his teeth. Then we don't stop building, we finish first. Elara looked at him with quiet strength. We finish together. They worked through the night, no sleep, no rest. The house grew, not just from hands, but from will. It became more than shelter. It became a symbol of rebirth, of resistance, of a forgotten girl building herself back into the world. As the sun rose, the final stone clicked into place. The home stood quiet and perfect, shaped by memory, built by two souls who had nothing, and then found each other. Riven turned to Elara. She stood in the doorway, eyes closed, breathing slowly. I've never had a home before, she said. He walked beside her. You do now. She looked up at him, and for a long moment, nothing else existed. Not enemies, not the past, not fear, just two people and a house made of stone. Hope and silent promises. The house was still. But her heartbeat wasn't. Elara stood in the doorway, staring at the stones they had just placed. Her fingers touched the wall like it might vanish if she blinked. And then, without warning, the stone whispered back. Not words. Not voices, memories. Saw 12 faces, tall, cold, proud. She saw their hands raised not to strike but to sentence. She remembered standing alone before them, her name carved into a wall behind her. Not as a hero, as a warning. Elara of Orcanus, do not wake her. Suddenly her knees buckled. Riven caught her. Elara! What's wrong? She looked up, eyes wet but not broken. They're not coming, she whispered. He leaned in. What? Do you mean they're already here? Above the planet, the ship hovered, dark, smooth, shaped like a blade. It made no sound. No signal. It simply watched. Inside, 12 figures stood around a silver orb. They wore robes that shimmered like water and armor that pulsed like veins. One of them spoke. Subject Elara has awakened. Another answered. Containment failed. Memory has returned. A third, colder voice. Then we do what we did before. We bury her again. Deeper, the orb glowed. A projection appeared. Elara standing with Riven near the stone house. The leader stepped forward. She built again. His hand reached into the orb. Then we destroy again? Back on the ground. Riven paced inside the house. We need defenses. Elara shook her head. They're not an army. They're worse. They erase history. What does that mean? She turned to him. They don't kill people, Riven. They erase them from time. as if they never lived. The stones around them trembled softly. Alara placed her palm on the floor. "Help me," she whispered. At first, nothing happened. Then the stones replied. One by one, they began to glow, not just blue now, but golden, red, green. Ancient circuits awakened inside them. Not wires. Memories. The floor shimmered. Symbols appeared. Languages older than Earth, older than time. Riven stepped back. "What is this?" Alara looked at him. "A record of the truth. They buried me because I saw what they feared." Suddenly, the sky above them cracked open. A beam of silver light hit the ground near the house. It didn't explode, it folded, space twisted. Time bent. And from it stepped one of the 12. Tall, faceless, wrapped in living metal. Riven raised his blaster. Alara said quietly, "Don't. That won't help." The figure stepped forward. His voice echoed from nowhere. "You were warned, Architect." Alara stood tall. "And you were wrong." The keeper looked at the stone house. "You build again. You infect the silence." Alara narrowed her eyes. "This place is not a weapon. It's peace." The keeper stepped closer. "There is no peace for mistakes," Riven growled. "You punished her for saving lives? That's not justice." The keeper turned to him. "Humans were not meant to interfere. This planet was sealed, and now," he raised one hand, "it will be forgotten again." Alara stepped in front of Riven. "No," she said. Her voice was not loud, but the stones heard her. The floor beneath them shook. Not in fear. In defiance. Suddenly, pillars rose from the earth, tall, glowing, humming with power. A shield formed. Over the house, stone and light fused as one. Alara's eyes lit like stars. "This time," she said, "I'd bury you." The keeper raised his hand again, but something cracked behind him. The stones beneath his feet turned red, hot, and then exploded upward. He vanished in a burst of dust and ancient light. Riven looked at Alara, stunned. "You didn't just remember the past," he said. She nodded. "I rebuilt it." But far above, the other keepers watched, and they were not done. The leader whispered, "The architect has chosen war." The message was never meant to be sent. The system had been shut down, the channel locked, the frequency banned, but somehow it went out. One word, help, and someone, somewhere, answered. Far from Orcanis 9, in a cold corner of the galaxy, a rusty old signal tower blinked. A man inside, tired, half asleep, checked the screen. He frowned. He read the message again. One word, no coordinates. No ID, but somehow he knew. Riven. And then serious trouble. Back on Orcanis 9, Riven stood with Alara inside the stone house. The shield she created shimmered above them, fighting the pressure from the skies. Above them, the 12 keepers floated silently in. Their ship, waiting, watching. Riven looked up. "You think they'll come down one at a time?" Alara's voice was steady. "No, next time they come as one." He nodded. "Then we don't wait." He walked to the console in his ship. The screen was cracked. The signal relay half dead. He opened a hidden drawer under the seat. Inside, a small silver cube. "Didn't think I'd need this," he muttered. He pressed it. The cube glowed, and across space it called home. Alara watched him. "You're not like them," she said softly. He turned. "Who?" "The ones who buried me. The ones who erased everything they feared." Riven stepped forward. "We're not perfect. But when we believe in something, or someone, we don't just bury the past. We fight for the future." 12 hours later, the sky cracked again, but this time, not with silence. With fire. Ships dropped like arrows, sleek, marked with old Earth flags. Big ones. Small ones, fighters, carriers, veterans. Humanity had arrived, not to conquer. To protect. Commander Juno stepped onto the surface in heavy armor. She looked at Riven and gave a half smile. "You always find the worst planets, don't you?" Riven smirked. "You love it." Then her eyes found Alara. "That her?" He nodded. "She's why we're here." Juno looked at the strange glowing home, the ancient symbols, the moving stones, then back at Alara. "She looks like a myth." "She is," Riven replied, "but she's real and worth saving." High above, the keepers watched the new arrivals. One of them growled, "Humans always interfere." Another replied, Then we erased them too. The ship opened like a flower. Energy beams charged, the sky turned white, but Earth ships had shields, guns, and Will. Juno shouted, "All units, form perimeter, defend the structure at all costs." Soldiers spread out, drones flew overhead. Ground cannons locked onto targets. And in the middle, standing firm, Ilara, she raised both hands, the stone house behind her expanded, walls rising higher, lines glowing brighter. Became a tower. Not to hide in, but to stand from. The first beam hit the shield and bounced back. The second shattered a rock hill. The third never landed, because Ilara caught it in her hand. Her body burned with ancient light. "I remember now," she said. "I wasn't punished because I failed them. I was punished because I didn't fear them." She sent the light back into the sky, and it cracked one of the keeper ships for the first time. They hesitated. Riven stood on the wall beside her. He raised his weapon, not because it could stop the keepers, but because he wasn't going to let her stand alone. Juno joined him. Then others, a dozen, 100, humans from different worlds, different pasts, now one line, one voice. "You are not alone anymore," Riven told her. Ilara looked over them. Her voice was soft and strong. "Then let this place be remembered. Not as the planet where I slept, but where I woke and where humanity stood. Asterisk long before the stars were charted, before the warships flew, before time was measured in codes and metal there, was stone. And stone remembered everything." Ilara walked barefoot across the stone floor of her new home. Each step awakened a pulse. Each breath stirred the walls. Outside, humanity stood ready for war. But inside, this was sacred ground. This was where she had died, and where now she chose to live. Captain Riven stood at the window, watching the horizon. Smoke curled in the distance. The keepers were gathering, dozens now, maybe hundreds. He whispered, "Too many." Ilara joined him. "Then we don't defeat them with weapons," she said. "We defeat them with something they have forgotten." Riven looked at her. "Hope?" She nodded. "And memory." Above them, the lead keeper gave the final command. "Begin the erasure." The sky turned black. Not with clouds, but with data. A virus of light. A memory wipe, a weapon built to unwrite people, places, entire histories, and it was aimed at her. Inside, Ilara placed her hand on the center stone of the house. It pulsed once. Then again, then it cracked open. Inside it, a heartstone, glowing deep red. Not blood, not fire. Memory compressed over centuries. Riven reached out. "What is it?" She turned. "It's me. The part of me that survived the silence." Then she did something no one expected. She removed it from the stone, from the home. And placed it in Riven's hands. His eyes widened. "Ilara?" "Why?" "Because I'm not afraid to be forgotten anymore," she said. "You gave me a home, so now I give it to you." The first strike hit. Not a blast. A pull, reality bent, as if the planet itself was being erased. People screamed. Ships shook, stone cracked, but the house stood because it was no longer just a house. It was chosen, remembered, loved. Ilara stepped outside. The keepers hovered in the sky. Glowing with cold light, the leader raised his hand, returned to sleep. Ilara looked up. No. Her voice echoed through the valley, through the minds of every soldier, every stone. "I choose life." She raised both hands, and the entire planet answered. The ground split. Pillars rose from deep within Orcanus 9, some ancient, some brand new. They weren't weapons. They were witnesses. Memory shards of cities, children, laughter, betrayal, trust, pain, and healing. All the things the keepers tried to erase, and none of it would be forgotten now. The keepers screamed, a horrible, digital wail, and fell. One by one, their power ran on silence, and Ilara had filled the world with truth. Riven ran to her. "Ilara!" "You did it." But she was weak. Her body flickered, light bleeding from her skin. "I'm still connected," she said softly. "You can break it," he begged. "Stay, please." She touched his chest over the heartstone she gave him. "I already have," she whispered. And then she faded, but not gone. The house glowed. Its walls moved gently, like breath. The stone beneath his feet pulsed with her warmth, and Riven knew she was here. Not as a ghost, not as a prisoner, but as home. Years later, children played in the garden beside the stone tower. Travelers came from all over the galaxy to see the house that stood. No war ever touched it again, and every night, as stars lit the sky, the stone walls whispered softly, and if you listened close enough, you'd hear a voice say, she slept on cold stones, forgotten. Until a human built her a home from stone and made her his heart.